They're an absolutely incredible Palestinian music group, and in the age of Israel's genocide, their music is more important than ever. They're called 47Soul, and they're pioneers of Shamstep, which is an electronic music dance movement in the Arab world. Their name refers to 1947, the year before the Nakba, or catastrophe, which of course enveloped the Palestinian people with the foundation of the State of Israel. And their music really is quite something. I'm delighted to be joined by Tarek Abu Quake, or better known as Far3i, and I start by asking him about the band and how the music came together.
Well, yeah, the band started as a collective from artists that were like established in our region to a certain extent, and since the very beginning it was focused on bilingual and diaspora and the homeland bridging, because it felt like we almost like felt that this is going to become bigger on the global scale, as in our cause, the Palestinian cause, because it haven't ended. And so musically, it was about bringing our sounds from our culture, and almost like trying to translate how we hear those sounds in the context of other modern productions, from you name it, from dub to hip hop to rock. And kind of like highlight, like hear this sounds like this other genre, and why is that part of our culture? So that's musically. Message wise, it's definitely related to the relationship between the diaspora and the land. I think that this is it's very important for our cause, because it's almost like we have another narrative of history between us and the West. So it's kind of like, let's get on it. On that, an amazing question we were asked by a journalist when we first started was, are you guys an emergency band? And we all went like, what I mean? Like, that's, yeah, it almost, yes. Like, we felt there is a need to be out there in those spaces internationally.
Let's hear a little clip from Power, which is out today.
Where do you get your power from? Did you get it for free, for free? Hit the lever just to eat, just to eat. Did the plank to protect your belief. Get the energy to sleep, just to sleep.
Now, with Israel's genocide taking place, that's a huge amount of emotional labor for Palestinians with a platform like yourselves. How do you see your role?
To be fair, it's a complicated one. Because in our heads, since we started, it was like our role is to get attention on on the continuous ethnic cleansing and the what's happening in Palestine, and focusing on the fact that it's settler colonialism with its 2000s virgin. Even censorship, like we're the kind of band that been asked by venues, like, does the band, recognize, Israel's right to exist? Like, or would the band say that, like, there's always been this thing that we struggle with, and we would have to answer, how we do our show, but. There's the grieving, and then there is the let's get back on it. So when the genocide started, the matter was like, it doesn't matter what we do. Will our people view it as we're being not sensible, or even offensive by getting on stages and performing? But then that shifted to, well, okay. Unfortunately, like most things that started on our people, it hasn't ended yet. So the question of like, well, if people aren't able to eat and move, and outside of Palestine and the Arab countries, there's a new level of silencing now that's coming in. It's way exaggerated, and it's really disappointing is a horrible word to use here. I can't use a better one. It's really bad. And so you'd think, well, now the responsibility is on us to even go harder in spreading the message. So there's always this kind of a dialect between, does that even, because you would think you've been doing this for a decade. What's different now? You haven't changed anything. Like, you just basically doing what you've been doing. On the other hand, some people come and tell us like, yo, you're lucky. Your type of job allows you to talk about it and spread the word. Like, you'd have friends in corporate, for example, who are like, it's really difficult to walk in and answer questions like, how are you doing, when like half of their family been like moved from the record in Gaza, literally, as in the whole family was murdered. So yeah, it's not very also different than other moments in history we've had. I mean, I've had moments where I'm on stage and out of the blue-ish, a whole attack on Jenin happens, and that's where my family is. So I'm like wondering, do I get on stage tonight, or do I make a statement that I'm not getting on stage? So this is something we faced since the very beginning. We've always been facing. Even in the Arab Spring, I've had shows like back in the day where like people would be like, people are actually on the streets and you guys are singing. We're like, well, we're singing about this. This never ends. It's part of what we do.
Anti-Palestinian racism is just so rampant and respectable in Western society, and that must be a huge amount of pressure on you as Palestinians with a platform.
Well, to be fair, maybe because we grew up Palestinian and we had those kind of thoughts and discussions throughout our life, we've jumped into a different realm as a Palestinian youth. Like, we're more onto the almost like the philosophical, existential type of questions around it rather than the political. Arguments like, this is settler colonialism, or this is economical, or this is about power dynamics. Not only they sound repetitive to us, they're true, and they're very important, but we're trying to answer questions like, how come this is happening to us? I mean, let's look deeper into this. You know what I mean? What are those cultural symbols in our houses growing up? Did we choose that map in the first place? Questions that would like really scramble the whole conversation. So, I mean, to be fair, sometimes you would fear falling into the token space when you're doing it, because we came to London actually as a band. We formed in Jordan and Palestine, and then we moved to London thinking that London is a pro-Palestine city, right? I mean, from a certain angle, that's true. And to be fair, like, even in the last year and a half, like, I have friends in Arab countries are like, you're lucky you live in London. We see those demonstrations, and I can only say, like, thank you to London. In fact, our song Ghost Town in video was about that. It's almost like a shout out to City of London. That's amazing. But I would love to up the conversation. The appetite for it right now is difficult because, if I'm going to look at the news and find, our people, children, burning alive, to jump into the philosophical space of it right now is almost like it's not the appetite. But we do believe it's the important one. Our third album is called Semitics. We're onto like, let's just, because it's an endless loop. The different arguments, if you want to take it as a phonetic or like a extreme religious argument, it's repetitive. If you want to take it from a completely economics and, let's say, maybe Marxist point of view, it's also repetitive. Like, the question is, okay, let's take this to the next level. I mean, we've been accused of being the kind of, well, not accused, but we would be the kind of band who would suggested a conversation around something like the Abraham Accords before it existed, if you know what I mean. We want to go to that level. Like, what is that land really? What's the history of it? Is the history we're reading even true? Because we really want a solution. And we know that what's been on the table for such a long time, it's just not doing it,
So your album released in 2018, Balfour Promise, referred to both Balfour House, where you were living in Tower Hamlets, and the Balfour Declaration, where the British Empire promised the land of Palestine to the Zionist movement. How does music engage people politically in a way formal politics doesn't?
Sometimes we're like a bit careful about, upping that narrative that, music is a solution. I don't know if that's a very Arab way of thinking about things, but I mean, with that one, honestly, it started as a joke, but it turned into a serious conversation. We were literally walking into the tower, and it's like, "Are we back to Balfour?" And it's like, "No, we're back to Balfour." And ha ha ha. And then the conversation was like, "Well, if you think about it, gentrification, occupation, settler colonialism, they kind of stem from the same kind of idea, right? Someone wants to expand, and you have to replace people to do that." I cannot deny that bands with political or human messages haven't influenced me. That's for sure. It's always nice to know that an artist is on your side. You know what I mean, or at least the side of humanity. But with Palestine, it's like there's two narratives of history, against each other. So when you really zoom out and think about it, like, do you want to blame someone who's grown up with massive propaganda? And I don't even call it brainwashing, because the person brainwashing them is brainwashed. So that's kind of genuine teaching. You know what I mean? I'm just teaching you what I know. That's what I would like to get on with the music. But I must say it got more challenging as we go, and became the kind of thing where, like, okay, no, these are books. They can't be songs, because songs need to be something that people can repeat after you. You can go deeper in a song. You can go deeper maybe in a longer rap verse or something. But there is a limitation, is what I'm trying to say. But as far as people gathering around their voice, people gathering around a position an artist took, this is definitely important, simply because music reaches the youth and the younger ones more than the news. So yes, is the answer. Sorry for the long one,
No, not at all. Tell me what Shamstep is.
So Shamstep is basically taking the traditional and, the existing sounds of the Levant, Syrian Levant, Palestinian sound, Syrian, and playing it with different production techniques that are modern. Generally speaking, it isn't so. For example, like in Arab hip hop, you would sample an old record and put it on like a boom bap or trap beat. With Shamstep, we're more like, we use the electronic and programmable drum kits to write Arabic drum grooves or Arab drum grooves, and we play our melodies that we write on top of it. So I would say, like, Shamstep is Arab drums with Bayati, which is like a scale that's very popular, that has the quarter tone, the Arabic quarter tone. And the singing styles are vocal styles from Palestine, like Haddai, and those kind of vocal styles are a bit kind of like, it's kind of similar to like toasting in Jamaican culture. They come from the celebration and giving shout outs to the people in the room. It's very engaging and live. Then you have, the mawal and tarab, more like longer note styles, mixed with rapping and just different kind of alternative styles of singing, or just, more global, I want to say. I'm usually careful with the Western Eastern here in this conversation, because I guess we come from the region where this is where all those things got mixed. When I say Arab drums, I mean drums in that region that got influenced by Arab trade throughout history, and therefore you hear like the African influence, the Indian influence, and and so Shamstep is dance music. It has hip hop in it. It has some rock elements, has some dub elements, but it's based off Debke music. So the easiest way to say it, it's a modern subgenre of Debke, which is originally a Palestinian dance, but people call music associated with it Debkat.
What do you say to people who are creative and musically inclined and want to get a message across?
Read. I mean, it sounds about like really, it's you know, they tell you no politics, no religion. There's a reason why they tell you that, you know, no politics and religion. And also, I don't like the narrative of, you know, this is some like old ancient religious beef. That's all a distraction. It was like, if there's anything you need to be reading is the relationship of religious texts to this whole conversation. And of course, use the great Marxist narrative we have from the past, you know, century or whatever. But, you know, we need to jump onto that. There's a lot of changes happening today in the world, in the realm of Islam and Islamic understanding. You know, Arab youth are asking questions of like, am I Arab? Like all of those identity questions. So I encourage everyone to read about the region from that perspective, because if we keep seeing it as like, that's just an occupation, you'll always be faced by the answer, well, isn't that just human nature? And the answer cannot just be simply no, right? So I think that reading is very important. We're just entering the phase where like we would try to maybe not separate, but like, you know, improve your reading on one side, have your understanding, and trust that this will allow you to make music that is inspiring and less preachy. You know what I mean? Because then you lose on both sides, right?
Yeah.
So I say this advice to myself first, you know, and then and to our group, of course, and to the rest. Do not separate the two subjects from each other. But, you know what I mean? You because I don't like this idea, like, let's put this on the side, you know what I mean? Like, let's go have this, but no politics or religion. Let's do music, let's put that on the side. And I understand. Some people are maybe like amazing activists who want to have, you know, songs about just different subjects. That's fine, because they're doing it elsewhere. That would be the advice. I mean, I mean, we're a bit privileged because like we're already censored. You know, I mean, like we're Palestinian, so it's like we're already in that space. So for others, it's more difficult, right? Like if Palestine was free, would I bring up that? I asked myself that question. If Palestine was free right now, and inshallah, would I speak about Congo in my music if it would cancel all of my summer tours? Would I? I pray for the strength that I would, you know. So respect to anyone who's said a good word about Palestine, and that's for them. In the end of the day, being on the right side of history is good karma for you, you know.
Agreed. Well, let's hope that does inspire more people to I don't know, a new generation of kind of politically informed musicians, I guess. Honestly, it's great speaking to you, and massive kudos as ever.
Same here, Owen. Bless.
Brilliant stuff there from Far3i. One of the ways we can actually help resist genocide is to support Palestinian culture, which the Israeli state seeks to eliminate in its genocidal onslaught. 47Soul are an incredible band, so do get Ghost Town and listen to their other music. Please like and subscribe with your thoughts and your comments. Help us take on the pro-genocide media at patreon.com/ojones84. Get this video out. See you in a bit.